hopefully what I could do in the next 30 minutes is shed a little bit of light in terms of what it's like to run a high-tech startup here in Silicon Valley. My office is actually located down in San Francisco. And our focus at GoBalto is primarily around providing platforms to help automate clinical study startup and management. How many people here are familiar with Facebook, Twitter, Amazon? Clearly everybody, right? So when was the last time you heard about any high-tech startup in the life sciences industry? I mean, we've even got Expedia, right? I mean, people can book great travel on the web, but there's nothing around life sciences that our industry has really embraced in terms of a technology to help automate different processes. And that's really what GoBalto was about. Just a little bit of back of myself. That's me. Just to let you know, that's the horrible picture of me. I was on bio-IT role. I think I was hungover. My wife always comments my double chin. I mean, she's just wonders how that picture got out there. But we won the Judges Prize last year around our platform, which was basically a directory to connect sponsors and life science service providers, even folks that actually offer services like some of the discussion topics today. And we founded this back in 2008. Prior to that, I co-founded a company called Celltrion, which is one of the largest biopharmaceutical suppliers in the world. My partners and myself sold it for about $3 billion about 2 years ago, and it was really off my experiences off of Celltrion we built GoBalto. And prior to that, in another life, I was actually a strategy consultant at McKinsey, but again, my wife told me to get a real job, so I went out to start a company. And that's just me to show what 10 years of startups can do to one's receding headline. That I actually did have hair at one point. But anyhow, again, about our directory. So a few years back, I had a colleague of mine ask me to find a regulatory consultant that was familiar with SFDA guidelines out in China. And through my networks and contacts, I thought it'd be fairly easy to find this service provider. And lo and behold, when you go on the net, there's a lot of hodgepodge and solutions in trying to connect sponsors with different providers of service. So the inspiration behind the directory a few years back was to provide somewhat of like an Expedia.com or a LinkedIn type service that would be able to connect folks in the life sciences community. And recently, we've signed up our 10,000th member. We have over 50,000 service providers, so the directory has actually been going gangbusters. But what really dawned on me about a year into the process was what we kept hearing from a lot of sponsors was how hard it was to find high-performing investigators, PIs, right, principal investigators. A lot of the trials are now being increasingly done out in China, in India, Eastern Europe, and people started really telling us that, you know what, Jay, what would be really fantastic if there was a platform to better automate how clinical protocols are initiated. And that's really a big chunk of today what I wanted to talk to you about. So, common statistics thrown around, take anybody's guess, anywhere from 25 to 40,000 protocols are started any given year. And every trial has to start somewhere, right? And the way we define study startup is the process of identifying and activating investigator sites, culminating in first patient in. How many folks here have actually started and run a protocol in the room? Okay, so it's a very complex, manual, cumbersome process, right? And the way people go about tracking study startup, which I'll get to in a moment, is quite archaic given this day of web-based technologies. So you've got your traditional study sponsors here, which are your big pharma, academia, research institutions, and they need to get patients, lots of patients at times. And the folks who are on the front lines are PIs, right? These are your physicians that are actually out there recruiting patients. And without high-quality performing investigators, a trial is pretty much stuck dead in the water.